I used to listen to good podcasts when everything was fine, but now I listen to this podcast because I've lost my mind. My gym partner's a podcast. My gym partner's a podcast. Yeah!
Bull shark, porcupine, I don't know what. Doing this podcast's a pain in the... Huh?
Is that it? That's just it. That's just the noise that the magic fish does.
Well,
You know.
I thought that would.
You just couldn't resist, could you?
Whoa, who's this here we have with us?
Who is that?
We have a
Another
strange
noob.
guest who's just burst into our studio while we were recording. Sir, please tell us your name.
Oh, burst it in.
Yeah.
Your name is Bursted In?
Wow.
That's an odd name.
They dragged me here by my ankles, and here I am for your enjoyment.
Begged us to be on this podcast.
Oh, whatever! Oh,
You wanted to be.
I'm just sitting here in my living room with my
badly.
cup of coffee, and then I get the call saying, "Oh, hey, Nyle, we really need you to be on this podcast. It's just going down the tube. I just don't know what to do." And
Oh, my ass.
So, this is our good friend Nyle here.
Hey, everybody.
Welcome to the show,
to the
Niall.
show. Oh, do you want to plug your or anything like that?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So, my name's Nyle. I'm on Twitter at twitter.com/nzpearson, Pierson.
Yeah.
I don't really make anything.
No. Nyle,
Nah.
tell
Niall's
us some of your
actually a-
accomplishments, Nyle.
I used to be a animator at Rooster Teeth Animation Studio for a bit.
Wow, so high class. Here with
Yeah,
us.
well,
Here with little old us.
clearly you needed me to straighten out a few things. I've looked at your past recordings, and I can see a few flaws. First of all,
No, that's not possible.
It's not
it's just chaos in here, and I feel like I have to exert some amount of control. So that's why I'm here today. We're gonna kind of get things back on track.
I'm eating
Okay,
peanuts right now. Probably not good audio.
Please don't eat peanuts while we
This is what I'm
record.
talking about. You know, if I wasn't here, Gert would eat these peanuts the entire time.
I'm just gonna finish these like 5 in my hand.
It's a madhouse. You all act like, dare I say it, animals.
Hey,
Whoa, hey,
that's not cool. You can't
What
just.
the fuck?
Well, somebody had to say it, so I'm gonna take the reins today, and we're gonna have a good episode. We're gonna have a proper
once in
episode.
our life.
I made Gert take notes.
yeah.
Oh, wow.
You didn't make me take notes. I did it all by myself. I chose to do this today. I don't normally take notes, but today is like it's the first day of the rest of my life. I still have peanut in my mouth. I need to like wash this down.
So we just watched the episodes I Fear Pretties and Magic Fish, both of which special episodes on their own. Maybe not the first one as much. Yeah, it was.
I'll
an
just-
episode.
Well, yeah.
What I'll say is, like, the first episode, I'm looking at my notes, and I Fear Pretties has, like, the most just, like, bullet point, like, one sentence each. And then Magic Fish has, like, I've written, like, paragraphs of, like, what I want to say about this episode. So, Niall, tell us what your history with My Gym Partner's a Monkey is. Have you watched it? Did you watch it as a kid? When was the last time you remember seeing it until just a bit ago when you had to watch these episodes?
One thing that I don't think I was entirely prepared for was just like the latent knowledge within my brain of My Gym Partner's a Monkey
Right.
episodes. Before we had done the podcast, I was thinking to myself, you know, it's been a while since I've watched a lot of these. I don't feel like I'm going to have a very strong connection to it. As soon as I heard the first line of the Pretties episode, I knew exactly what was going to happen next, and I hate that.
So it's the thing that like surprised you the most was just like the latent knowledge, the just proverbial like feeling that all of this has happened before in your head.
Yes.
It's
And I was so familiar. I was so it felt like coming home. I was entering the doorway, and my wife is there in the kitchen, and my wife is Jake Spider Monkey, and I walk into the kitchen, and Jake looks at me and says, "Oh, honey, welcome home," and that's what it felt like to me. So I did watch it as a kid. I watched it excessively, and I only figured this out as soon as we started that first episode. Though when you had asked me to be on, I wasn't really sure of how to prepare for it. I was like, well, I need to make sure I listen to the previous episodes and know how this nonsense goes on, and I was
Right.
So I did that, and but I wasn't sure if I needed to go back and like look through like the wiki and learn things about the characters again.
unnecessary.
So I didn't do any of that, but I still feel like I'm there with you all. I feel it. I can feel myself moving into Windsor's huge hairy arms and being caressed and being told that I belong at Charles Darwin Middle School.
It feels
You are Charles Darwin Middle School.
I
Charles
am Charles Darwin Middle School, damn it.
I feel like I am on the bus and I'm awake.
Okay, so let's talk about our first episode here. I Fear Pretties, which I don't understand the title for this one.
I don't
either.
It's,
all.
it's probably based on a book title or like some not obscure, but some title somewhere.
Well, I mean,
That's how these things
I
go.
kept thinking of that song, like I Feel Pretty, so I think it's supposed to
That's
be like
probably
a
the
play on-
pun. It's a bad pun, but it's probably what they're trying to do.
Yeah, so Adam and Jake are in class together, and like Adam is like worried. He's like, Jake, are you sure you got like the research for our project right? I mean, we really need this grade, man. I can't fail another one. And Jake's just so confident. He's like, we got this. And they're in
Don't
Mr.
worry
Hornbill's
about
class.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Don't worry
Yeah,
about it, buddy.
We see the three large students who we usually see in the background or some such for one-off jokes.
What are their
they're giving
names?
an oral. Huh?
What are their names? Tell me their names, Renee.
Margaret?
Margaret
and
Latanya.
LaTanya, of course.
And
and-
The Yak.
Gretchen?
Yak.
Is it Gretchen?
Gretchen
Probably
sounds
something.
right.
Is it...
These are characters that, like, if you've been watching the show with us, you've seen these characters. They're, like, in a lot of episodes just, like, as a background gag or,
Right.
like, just to do something, like, to emphasize that, oh, they're, like, because one's a rhino, one's a hippo, and one's, like, a big yak. It's like, oh, they're big animals. They, like, stampede and stuff. Isn't it funny?
Mm-hmm.
And they're also best friends.
They
Very
love
close.
each other.
Oh, yes. The sisterhood will never end. They're doing a presentation on kangaroos, to which Margaret, the rhino, is like, they're the most hopping animal alive. Tee.
Can you imagine, like, being... like, having to do
A rhino?
report... No, not... I'm just thinking, like, doing a report on, like, a species of animal when you are a animal.
I think it's similar to just doing a report on a different nationality, a different country
Like
than you're not used to. Like, I had to do that in middle school, where we
Right.
would all have to find a different country, not like really well-known countries, just and do reports on them. And then we would bring food from that countries. And I had Australia. And instead of bringing sausage rolls like I ought to have, I just brought pigs in a blanket, and I said they were sausage rolls.
What the
So you
fuck,
lied to
Renee?
You lied to those students.
Pigs in a blanket are not, like, I'm pretty
Well, nobody
sure they're-
said anything about it, so it was fine. They didn't say anything.
Oh, I got some pigs in a blanket from Australia. Alright, these
I
are
can't,
fresh.
Renee, I can't believe you did the accent and everything. Like,
Yeah, like you
you
went in
didn't
there.
just bring the wrong food. You imitated the accent, and it was I was there. I was one of the students, Renee. I was there.
I did like in elementary school we had like a thing for we had to do something like that, except like everybody in the class was doing the same country, and it was Greece.
What? So did everyone just bring in a bunch of euros?
No, like we all got like a specific thing to talk about, and I was like, gotta do the food, and we just printed out pictures of food.
That sucks.
Yeah, it was really lame. We didn't.
Man, what is like elementary and middle school? It's just nothing, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah,
I had a music teacher named Miss Ratajewski.
What are you bringing her into this? She didn't do anything wrong.
I'm just thinking about it, like middle school. God, anyway.
Anyway.
They're like they go and sit down. It's Jake and Adam's time. They're reporting about rhinos and
The
like obviously
Sumatran rhino.
They're sucking
they-
up.
yeah, they're trying to get on Mr. Hornbill's good side. They're like, Jake's like, wink, wink. Like, we wanted to pick a majestic animal. Wink, wink, wink.
Are you
I would be
done?
so uncomfortable being in Hornbill's position if a student did that.
if a student just started like complimenting like your nationality, who you are,
Just
like
we chose this because it's the most majestic, most
mature.
amazing thing.
Like,
Like, I barely know you, kids.
They make a Adam says basically that, oh, here's about this rhino. It's what Margaret is. He points at Margaret. They're known as like the hairy rhino, and then like
high-res armpit pics.
yeah, she's got like armpit hair, and she feels self-conscious about it. But and Mr. Hornbill's like, hey, like, can you pick something a little more, not as humiliating?
Yeah, that's not cool.
Yeah, like
stuffing an asshole.
And then that's not touched on again.
Yes, and
fuck that.
So Adam's like, oh, well, it's not all like that. I didn't mean it like that because, Margaret's rhino type, their horns are worth a lot of money. So Margaret is worth like a bajillion, zillion dollars.
Yeah, like poachers and stuff could like
Yeah.
get a lot of money off of her.
Yeah, back then when you're watching this episode, you don't really think much of it, but now with the rhinos that have gone extinct and being aware of what poachers are really, that's a really backhanded compliment. Oh yeah, you're really valuable when you're dead.
Yeah, your like bones are worth like a lot of money. Like if you like died and I like took your teeth, like I could get a lot for those.
Yeah, and at this point, like, after this is said, all the students' eyes turn into dollar bills. And it had occurred to me that, are the students, like, thinking that they could just, kill Margaret and get the money that way? Because they start treating her differently.
Or saw her horn off. Like, it
Yeah,
doesn't
like,
really...
they acknowledge that, like, that's the root of the money. So why else would they have dollar signs in their eyes if they weren't trying to get that cash?
But also, it doesn't really focus on that aspect, like, past this point. It just kind of shows the dollar signs in their eyes. But then, like, nobody, like, pursues that, really, It's just
This
kind
episode
of...
takes a weird turn because, everyone leaves class. Margaret's like, I'm important. Everybody come sit by me at lunch. And as Jake and Adam are leaving, Mr. Hornbill, like, stops them and is like, hey, so all that stuff you said was kind of wrong, actually. You got the wrong rhino. The Vietnamese one is the most valuable one.
The most rare. Yeah.
Maybe next time, Mr. Spider Monkey and Animal Eye, you'll get your shit together.
Maybe someday.
I'm going to go think about how awful I am. I hate you.
But then this is where like Jake's kind of running gag of the episode comes in, where he like basically is like, well, yeah, Adam, you should have researched it better, despite the fact that it was Jake who made the error, and he kind of just like repeats that like throughout the whole episode. He's like, yeah, Adam was the one who messed up with the research. This fucking guy over here.
Yeah.
Man, Adam, you really screwed the pooch on this one, huh?
And nobody even contests that. Usually in other episodes, that sort of running gag would be the focus, or there would be something where Adam would be like, "No, I'm not that. I didn't do that." But here, that's just completely uncontested.
Jake, like, in regards to, like, the stakes and just, like, what was happening in this episode, he was, like, weirdly not there. He was just kind of, like, there for Adam to, like, relay information to, but not really to, like, affect him.
Right. Okay, so they get... wait, I just really quickly have to mention that, like, after Jake kind of was like, yeah, you really messed up, he, like, walks off, and Adam goes, like, zuh? Like,
yeah. Oh, I didn't want to talk about that.
Adam's catchphrase.
Adam's famous catchphrase that he said every episode, zuh?
Zuh?
Yeah, I remember
but that's
that.
the thing. They do
Tim
like
Allen.
use that a lot later. They just it feels off in this episode, but in the whole grand scheme of things later, they keep using.
You know, season 2, like, episode, like, 6 or whatever fucking episode this is of season 2, you know, that's the time you bring in, like, a catchphrase for the main character.
They're in the lunchroom now, and Margaret, like, walks up to her friends, and she's like, I'm gonna be the leader of the group, you guys should, like, feed me, I'm super important. And it's such an odd bit, because, like, for a moment I was wondering, like, are we done with Adam and Jake? Like, is it just gonna be, like, these three?
Yeah, I was like, is this going to be, like, a Henry Armadillo-esque episode, where it's just, you know, about these characters that we don't see, like, in the foreground?
I guess. It's just, it feels weird. Like, they, like, get mad at her because she's, like, you know, being a bitch.
Yeah. She's just like...
To put it lightly.
I'm the most important. Me. Put food in my mouth.
She's like, wow, you really messed up here, Adam. Just like you messed up with the report. You better fix this and not mess up like you did with the report.
Adam, this is your responsibility. You should do something about it, Adam.
Adam goes to, like, talk to Margaret. He's like, okay, I have to go help. No, I gotta go fess up, I guess. Not even fess up, just, like, tell Margaret the truth so she stops acting like this. Mm-hmm. And, when the girls, like, decide they weren't gonna be friends with Margaret anymore, they, like, shoved a bunch of food in her face, and so Adam goes up and Margaret's like, wipe my face for me. So he does.
He just decides to. Like, I don't...
Well, this is Adam's weakest moment. This is Adam at his most vulnerable, so of course he's going to follow any command.
I guess so. He feels responsible for what's happening, so of course he's just going to, like, cave in and do whatever, like, somebody asks of him. I forgot to mention that before Adam went to go do this, Jake had a little moment where he looked at Adam, and I have a render that we can put up on the episode really quick. Just
go ahead and pop that up.
Yeah, I love how you didn't, like, you're like, regardless of the fact that Renee was gonna take screenshots and put them on the episode anyway, you and your notes decided, I'm going to draw what I see real quick.
Well, I didn't really know how to put it into words, so I felt I should just draw it. I think it'll help me. He kind of does, I mean, everybody could see it, of course. I drew it, and it's on there, but it's kind of a little strange expression, a little quizzical look. Anyway,
Smug?
Margaret says it's hard to find good help, and Adam goes, you mean your friends?
You mean your friends? Like...
It's really gone to her head, like, really quickly. She's calling herself a princess, even better than a princess. It's just the most valuable, important princess ever.
It's like...
And Adam has no choice but to be like, yeah, you know, you're special. He's trying to put it as delicately as possible so as not to offend her, but he doesn't manage to say anything about how she's not actually valuable, and she takes it as, oh, you want to go out with it on a date with me?
Oh, Adam!
Yeah, exactly like that. And she invites him to she assumes that he is asking her on a date, so she suggests the sloppy trough at 7:00.
Yeah, the sloppy trough.
I got some stuff about sloppy trough because I don't really understand who it's supposed to be for.
Well, we'll get to that when we get there, but
yeah, we will.
If you don't, could I break this part down?
Yes, I would love
this next little
it
bit
if
in
you
this
did.
cafeteria, because what happens next is that so Adam has this moment with Margaret, and now he's like, he goes back to Jake, and he's like, Jake, I don't know what to do now. And Jake's like, well, you really screwed up this time. Maybe you should talk to Margaret's friends. Maybe you'll find some way to get out of this that way and talk to them about it. And I was like, yeah, you know what, you're right, Jake. So Jake sends him off to Margaret's friends. And Adam has a similar conversation with them that goes even quicker than the conversation with Margaret. And they also assume that he is asking them on a date individually. And so none of the friends now know that they are all scheduled for the same night for a date at the sloppy trough. So he goes back to Jake after each of these times, and Jake is just like, well, I don't know what to tell you, but here, take this coupon for... Basically, it was a 2-for-1 at the sloppy trough instead of like assisting Adam in any way with this.
There was a bit before. Well, can I
sorry,
mention?
you can go ahead. Yeah.
Can I mention there was a bit before then that we all laughed at?
It was hilarious.
It was hilarious, but not for actually being hilarious. Just how weirdly timed it was. At least that's how I feel. Where
it was
Jake,
quiet too.
As soon as Adam leaves to go talk to them, he's like, "You can ask them about how you and Margaret's honeymoon will go." Adam walks back silently, looking angrily at Jake, pauses for a moment, and then says, "You really couldn't resist, could you?" Pauses silently.
Absolute silence.
And
like
then
No
walks
change of pose, no nothing.
and just walks
And
away.
walks away. Jake, and it holds on Jake for a few more seconds, and then it cuts to Latanya.
He just had an absent-minded, just like neutral, like smiley expression. It was just that was it.
Completely unfazed.
Go on now.
But basically what I'm getting to here is that after each of these exchanges, Adam is going to Jake and then back to each of these different rhinos. And the whole time I'm thinking, like, what is Jake's real role in this episode besides giving Adam information and sending him off to do these things and giving him useful things? And then it occurred to me that this whole episode is like a dating sim game.
Oh my
And
god.
what Jake is the guide for your character who's directing you to all the different people that you could date. Think about it. Because all he does is he sends you on these quests to these individuals, and then you report back to him. And then he's like, well, man, you kind of screwed up that one, but here, try this, and maybe you could approach it this way. And he even gives you power-ups. He gives you the 2-for-1 coupon to the sloppy trough.
Oh my
He does
God!
this multiple times. This is his role in the episode.
He's the fucking just
The protagonist's
He's
best
the
friend.
guide for the protagonist. Not one you date.
He's the fucking-
He doesn't really provide anything to the story. He's just there to direct you in certain ways.
He's like the
towards
hub
these different
world.
dates. Yeah, he's a fucking walking monkey hub world.
Jesus.
It's true. Oh my god. So he's got 3 dates.
Yeah.
3
So we
days.
kind of cut to the
Sloppy
sloppy trough pretty much right after this.
So the sloppy trough, I thought I must have misheard, or maybe it just doesn't make sense. But I swear Margaret said something like, "Oh, the sloppy trough. It's a place like behind the zoo."
Yeah, it is.
yeah, she does say that.
It
Okay,
is.
because then it the way that they like the introduction shot to like the sloppy trough makes it look like it's a restaurant that's like in the zoo a little bit. That's what I thought it was for a second.
The way I saw it was like it's like showing us like over the zoo. Like the zoo is like in front of us, and then like we go over it to the back.
Right, okay, because I think I misunderstood because, like, the shops, like, next to it looked like animal-themed, so I thought this was, like, you know, like, themed restaurants in a zoo or an amusement park kind of situation.
And I mean, I guess they kind of are. Like, maybe not, like, you know, inside the place, but they're still, like, kind of, like, picking up the sort of theming of the zoo since they're close to it.
Yeah, and also it seems like the only, like, patrons of the restaurant are animals.
Yeah.
And, like, the waiter's a human, but
Yeah,
everyone
we gotta
else...
address that.
Yeah, everyone else is an animal.
Mud
Well, I mean, you
squares?
say everyone else, but we only see Margaret, LaTanya, their crew, Adam, Jake and Windsor show up.
Hey, don't forget
Yeah.
don't forget the lobster couple.
The lobsters.
Don't forget
Well,
the
I
And
saw-
lobsters.
the one lobster sacrifices his wife for a meal. I don't think we can really glaze over
Yeah,
that. There's a
so, like,
scene where the lobsters are in the tank and they're shown to be kind of like a couple.
Yeah,
or
they're old.
happily married people for over 90 years.
They are.
And they say this, like, oh, you know, after 90 years of marriage and you're still taking me to nice places like this. And then the husband suggests to the waiter, oh, I'd like to have the lobster, please. And the waiter takes out his wife. And the wife screams,
how could you?
How could you?
Stephen,
And then she's
how
taken away. This is not addressed at all for the rest of the episode. But we can only assume that he cannibalized his wife. I cannot believe this was in the show.
What
So
were they
funny.
thinking?
What?
This was like the only joke that really got, like, this and the like silent part at the like earlier in the lunchroom, like the only two jokes that like genuinely made me laugh.
Yeah, otherwise this one's kind of a total bust. But we keep going at this point, and
Well, it's because it's a frustrating situation. I've said it multiple times on this podcast. Like, I find cartoon like episodes that just deal with like a frustrating situation like unbearable.
like a misunderstanding, if
God.
someone's not able to explain something, it's absolutely putrid.
Yeah, it's hard to get through.
And it feels like every fucking cartoon from this era had at least one episode like this. Maybe
Or multiple.
Even, or multiple. Usually more. And it was like, how did I fucking, like, get through my childhood without having, like, a stroke or something? Like, it's frustrating. It's hard.
As the girls show up, Adam just kind of like, he sends one to the bathroom, like two others to seats, and he's like, okay, I gotta like figure out how to do this. And then like Windsor and Jake just show up like, hey, Jake had another 2-for-1 coupon, so I'm here.
Oh, hello.
Another character added to the dating sim to assist
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
He's a secret person you can date, but it's really hard to find the unlockable parts of it.
There's actually a whole cutscene. It's really cool.
Yeah.
When Windsor is like, let me help you with your predicament, Adam, and he like makes an announcement over like the podium in the restaurant, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
The waiter podium, where they tell you to wait at your tables, and he just says, the first 3 ladies who go to the buffet bar can get all you can eat the mud squares for the next 10 seconds, and of course they rush.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're just gone. They're on their way.
They are grazing animals, and they need to feast. They need to eat all the time, or they'll, like, fall over dead.
They need
So
to
they-
feast on mud.
Is how I understand it. Yeah, okay, so mud squares, do they mean the chocolate ones, or actual mud? I presume actual mud, because
actual
this is
mud
my
with little
mud.
bits of grass on them or something.
Yeah, so this place must be for animals, right? But you can order lobster.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, is that I was sure the Sloppy Trough was like a for animals restaurant. I swear I thought I saw like another person or another animal sitting at like a random table like in the background or something, but maybe I'm just misremembering. And like the food is all just like mud squares, and that's about all we get.
Yeah.
Maybe like the restaurant has like a deal with the zoo and like gives them free coupons a lot, and like Jake's parents, they like don't really go out much, so Jake just has like a stack of them somewhere.
Yeah,
Just like,
their mailbox is just full of like coupons, and just like, you know, Jake's parents are just like, oh, we got food in the house.
Jakey, you don't need to go out. You know, you have to reserve to get into the sloppy trough, and it's a big thing. You know, why don't you just eat your grubs?
Aw, but Mom.
Eat your grubs, Jake.
Okay, Dad.
I wanted to go with Adam to the sloppy trough.
Oh
gotta
God.
Put your hat on right.
We haven't.
Hold your head up when I'm looking. Hold your head up when I'm talking to you.
Hold your head up when I'm talking to you, boy.
You can tell that this episode is a real stinker because we're just resorting to creating our own narrative.
There's not
About
much
Jake's
to go
parents.
off of in this. Like,
Okay, so like the girls all run into each other. They're like, Adam's like, okay, I have to tell you guys the truth, and he starts off in the worst way. This is just
You're
the
not
trope of these kinds of
special!
episodes. Like, yeah, he's like, you're not special, Margaret, not at all, and she starts.
She starts crying.
I wrote on my paper.
She makes that noise.
She screams like a pterodactyl in the middle of her sobbing, and there's a build up to it too. It's like, you think I'm plain?
I like her word use, just plain.
And then the girls, of course, are like, how dare you, Adam Lyon.
You misogynist,
Yeah.
Adam Lyon.
Yes.
Everyone hates Adam in this
Yes, Gert?
episode.
Yes, Gert?
Do you think I'm plain?
No, I
No,
don't think-
Gert.
No, Gert,
No.
you're
very
your horn just
extraordinary.
isn't worth anything.
I just watched
Your
this,
horn isn't worth anything, though, Gert.
Yeah, you're not special.
The girls, they like pat her back and they're like, fuck you, Adam. They run off.
I gave
Windsor
myself
and
a
Jake,
fucking headache doing that.
Windsor and Jake approach Adam and they're like, well, all's well that ends well. And then the waiter shows up and he's like, good sir, here is the bill for the ladies. And Adam ends the episode looking at the like 500 something bill. And he's like, oh geez. And Jake and Windsor have run off but left him with a coupon. And then Adam says, I have to call my mommy.
His other catchphrase.
I
that he
gotta call my mommy.
It's so sad. He's just a kid.
$586.63.
Why is mud worth that much?
Why is also, why did they have a year's worth of them out?
Yeah, the waiter makes a remark like, well, the ladies ate like a year's worth of mud cakes. And
Well, they probably
is with
just
the
kept.
mud squares.
They were running out, and it's like, hey, waiter, get us some more mud squares.
They gotta
What,
take
they have so
Alright.
much at the restaurant, even like at a day.
Like, I feel like
they're-
most.
And they didn't make a reservation, so it's not like they could have prepared for it.
Yeah, like, what the fuck? Right? Like, what were they thinking?
Okay.
All right, let's
So
get
pretty
out of
bad
this
episode.
I am done with this episode.
The next episode we're going to talk about is called Magic Fish, and I gotta say, I think this episode is hilarious.
There's a lot to unpack. And let's get it going.
So first of all, scrub-a-dub-a-doo.
Actually, there is something I want to start out with because it's something I neglected to mention about with this first episode, the I Fear Pretties episode.
Yes.
So this one starts out and we see Charles Darwin Middle School, right? And we see the sign and it says, chameleon meeting has changed. And you're like, oh, that's a funny joke because like chameleons change colors, right? That's their whole bit. And that, like, normally what is written on the sign is a joke. The one for the previous episode said, and I quote, if you lived here, you'd already be at school.
What
That's
does that
not
mean?
a joke.
That's-
It's such a nothing thing to say. I was so confused because I thought these were supposed to be funny.
Niall, I read that and I kind of didn't believe it. Like I looked at it and I was just like, should I write that down? No, it's not worth it.
Well, you see, this
I'm
is why
gla-
I'm here. I've got to write this stuff down.
I'm glad you brought it up. What a nothing thing to say. Like, it's
Yeah, sorry, I just had to address that before we get into this magic fish episode.
Jake does a cannonball,
Yeah.
and he morphs into his ball form,
Yeah.
as his species can do.
He turns into Kirby from the Kirby golf game.
Dream Course?
Yeah, he turns into Jake's Dream Course.
Oh god, that needs to be a Kirby's Dream Course mod.
Jake,
Can we mod Kirby's Dream Course and make it like my gym partner's a monkey themed?
yeah, we can change the whole. God, all the music would just be the fucking like drum MIDI noises. What the power-ups be? Like, fucking Windsor and Slips would be like enemies.
Yeah. Well, Sharkowski would be like one of the like big ones, you know, like the boss.
Fucking Krakow.
Yeah. So he, when he jumps into the water, there's this like very like hard to describe. He's like a big pink fish who's also voiced by Tom Kenny, I think.
Yeah, you just have to assume that if they get another character on, probably Tom Kenny.
Yeah, so
He's got these like big swollen blue eyes that seem to go in any which way, any which direction, and a shirt that's unbuttoned from the top button, so he's showing a bit of his fish chest, which is going to become a recurring theme later on in the episode.
Well, I think it's to look, much like the character his name is riffing off of, but we'll see in a bit. But I
wait,
think
he's supposed to be a
costume-
reference to something?
Yeah, his name.
Well, yeah.
We'll see in a bit, but he gets knocked out of the water onto dry land, and he's choking. You can hear him audibly choking.
He's just
and
it just who else but Jake Spider Monkey to find some way to just infantilize this poor dying fish.
He's drying up. His pink skin is becoming cracked
he's
shriveling up there on the
and Jake's like, "Oh, you're so cute."
Oh, we do baby.
You're little pudding tater.
Jake proceeds to name him Little Puddin' Tater because it is as cute as a pudding-filled potato.
Wow.
A potato filled with pudding.
Can you imagine being in the writer's room and just hearing somebody suggest that, and just everybody there, they just start cracking up and laughing because, it's really funny.
I just this part is kind of really funny to me because it's Adam at first who calls attention to the fact that Jake has done this, and then as Jake is doing this, it goes on for a while of him cooing at the fish and watching him slowly dry up, and Adam doesn't say anything until he's done with his bit. He waits for Jake to be done doing his routine, and then he's like, Jake, what the fuck?
Well, Adam believes in Jake. Adam wants Jake to be the better person here, but it's not going to happen. And something I made a note of, which is Jake in the previous episode was kind of tolerable.
Yeah.
But in this one, this episode, the beginning of this episode is what truly reminded me that Jake Spider Monkey is a dangerous sociopath. This man could have saved this fish at any point.
You're already
but he
taking
really
the
just
side.
Didn't want to. I have to. Who will?
He just looked at this creature drying up, and he was like, first of all, whatever this creature before me is named, it doesn't matter. I choose its name, and its purpose is my choosing. You are
exactly. That's exactly what I made.
You are cute little puddin' tater, and you are my cute little object that I admire.
And so after Adam saves him by putting him in the water, the fish is
Jake, he can't breathe.
he puts him in the water, and the fish is like, "Oh, thank you, good sir. You saved my life."
Hello, boy.
Hello, boy. Thank you. I'm going to give you a magic wish now.
You fucking idiot! Wishes don't exist!
Yeah, Adam, for some reason, which is addressed later, but he doesn't believe in wishes specifically.
He won't even play along or just kind of like be like, all right, whatever, like, here's his dumb wish, like, just to like get him off his back. He just like is like adamantly like, wishes aren't real. I'm not making a fucking wish.
It's almost like
he won't make a wish. He won't give his wish to Jake. He's not gonna do anything with it. He's just gonna try to forget that he was even asked that and leave this sparkly, lovely little fish boy.
Oh, in his name, he gives him the business card, and it's David Coppertrout. So, who is that? Who is that?
It's David Copperfield, the magician.
Duh.
Yeah.
Fucking duh.
I believe that's why he looks the way he does.
Okay,
as well.
I just because he looks very
David
distinct.
Copperfield doesn't have big, swollen, blue, cross-eyed eyes.
No, not last time I checked, he didn't.
But
I did watch him on VHS.
Thank you for
so I
checking,
don't know.
Renee.
Does David Copperfield just like sigh?
No.
Does he sigh really big?
I'm pretty sure the only thing that ties him to David Copperfield is magic, quote unquote, and that dress shirt, and that's it.
Ah, jeez. Well,
The fish chest.
Yes, the fish chest.
Fish chest.
Jake tries to call him Little Pudding Tater, and David very just like, it's like, I never agreed to that. Don't call me that.
And Jake is like he's
Pissed?
so
Offended.
pissed. He's so angry that like his name isn't sticking. He's just like, oh, okay, David. like
I made friends with Little Puddin' Tater, and that's my friend. I'm not friends with David.
It's really not a good look.
It's not a good look for Jake Spider Monkey. And Adam makes a dumb comment like, when did I go to get transported to Woo Woo Land?
Yeah, somebody tell me where I made the wrong turn into Woo Woo Land.
That's something I'm going to start saying in my actual life now. I'm in woo-woo land right now. This podcast is fucking woo-woo land.
Aw, you love it.
I made a wrong turn at Albuquerque.
Yeah, I guess I like doing it.
We go to the ever so famous lunchroom. And Jake is annoyingly, being the annoying sidekick that he is, just keeps constantly asking Adam, you made a wish yet? You made a wish yet?
Made a wish yet? Absolutely insufferable.
You finish with those. You finish with those errands. You finish with those errands. You know, it's like, it's kind of it's the same. It's just Tom Kenny doing like something that SpongeBob would do.
And then this part is really funny where like Adam is like just being a real sourpuss here, and Jake grabs his like lunch bag, like goes, hey, like draws something on it, and goes, hey Adam, and he like drops it in front of him, like, this is you. You're a sad sack.
You're a sad sack.
If somebody did this to me, I would be speechless. I wouldn't know what to say.
And Windsor walks over and is like, what is Adam ranting about today? And all Jake does is just like show him the sack.
He's like,
Oh yes, of course.
I see, the proverbial sad sack.
Ah, the sack.
To denote that Adam is not wanting to give Jake his wish.
The sack.
So Jake goes at this point and explains like Adam's like not using this amazing wish that he has, and they give some suggestions of what to wish for, and Windsor says like, maybe wish to see into the future so I could see, if this dollar that I donated to the space program will actually help us find life on Mars. Then Slip says, you could wish for, I don't know, something.
Because he says something like, I had a cousin who got a wish once, and they're like, what did he wish for? And he's
a
like,
cousin from Ecuador.
He's like, I don't know, stuff.
I don't know, like...
Then Windsor mentions the wish to see into the future, and he wants to see if Mars is possible, and then Slips is like, I want some Mars stuff.
Yeah.
You could wish for some Mars stuff.
Oh, dude, like.
Happy 420, by the way.
Yeah. Hey.
It won't be 420 when this airs.
Hey.
Well, look.
Everybody.
We gotta say it somewhere.
Everybody.
I'm not gonna let this go.
This is for Jake Spider Monkey.
Dude.
Yeah. Yeah. You're doing it. Yeah. Yeah. Way to go. Yeah, Gert. Yeah.
Yeah, pass that over.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, pass the fish paste.
Yeah.
So Adam is pissed off. He's like, you know what? I'm leaving, and he's in the library, and then all of a sudden, like, Lupe comes out of nowhere, and she's like, Adam, let me give you a relaxing massage, and then it, like, zooms in on her, like, claws.
Her talons.
Yeah, it's like a really sharp painting of, like, her talons, and, like, she just kind of, like, plants them into Adam's back, and he's like, oh, you're killing me! And she's like...
Because he's basically being stabbed from multiple entrances.
And she's like, you want me to do it more? And
yeah.
And then her talons open up into robotic drills that pierce further into Adam's back.
Right?
So Lupe's a cyborg?
She must have gone to that same person that, like, Jake went to get the robot arm attached to his head.
Fucking robot arm on her.
Do you remember that episode? That wasn't even that long ago.
Yeah. What the hell?
So then Ingrid shows up and she's like, oh, you look tense. Let me give you a massage. And she starts just, like, beating him with her hooves. Just like, and then they both start, like, stepping on him, and Adam is, like, really freaking out. He's like, what the fuck? What's going on?
Like,
why is this happening to me?
He's just like, like, they start, like, dancing on his back.
What's making you act so weird?
He's like, why are you acting crazy?
I have to get away from you two. He says something like that, like, I have to get away.
I have to go. I have to run.
Well, but they're just doing something nice. And people who do nice things, they get nice things in return. And they smile fakely, and Adam just squints his eyes, and he's like, oh, I see. You just want me for my wish. And I like the way Ingrid wiggles her whole neck. It's like, what? No! Wobble, wobble, wobble. It's funny. There's a lot of funny animations in this. I like the way Lupe dances on Adam's head, and how she just is embedded into Adam's back. It's a lot of funny stuff here.
There's just a lot of little bits that really just make you think.
So,
I'm still thinking about her drill feet.
So this kind of continues into this through line between the two episodes, which is like, there's one person who is like this commodity, this one person everyone is obsessed with right now. And so Adam leaves the library, and he is approached by the Pretties from the first episode, and they're like, hey, you seem tense. Let us give you a massage.
Yeah. Also, I think this is like, we've heard, the bit where LaTanya...
Yeah.
We've heard the bit before where, like, her voice gets really, like, ooh.
She becomes an eldritch horror.
Yeah, she becomes an eldritch horror. It's happening more. It's happening more often.
It's just a regular speech pattern of hers. It's not even like a bit. It's just what a natural reflex for her at this point.
That's what hippos sound like, didn't you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, hippos do sound pretty eldritch.
Hippos are really scary and dangerous.
They
Can
are.
you give us a hippo fact, Renee?
Yeah, actually, I would love that.
Animal Facts Corner with Renee!
Did you know that hippopotamus, I think in Greek or Latin, it's one of those, means river horse.
Oh,
Whoa.
how
That
majestic.
can't be right.
They're not.
Yeah.
There's no way
horses.
that's correct. They're not horses, Renee.
Well, you know how people in the past are, all being in the past and naming things
Renee,
like
I don't
other
want
names.
any excuses. We asked you for a fact.
That is
Okay?
a fact. What? Take it up with the Greeks or the Romans.
I looked up hippo facts on Google, and the first
Gert, please.
And the first thing that people
taking
also
my
ask
brain.
is, what is special about hippos? Why
so
are
mean.
And the second one is, why are hippos important?
They're just
And
plain.
what are real hippos like?
Real as opposed to what?
I don't
Well,
know.
Opposed to Gloria
Latanya.
from Madagascar.
The last one, the second to last one. Oh my god! Alright, the last one's good, but the second to last one is, what can hippos do? And the last
What are
one.
their powers?
And the last one is, how much does a hippo cost? Who the fuck is out here buying?
Yeah, who?
So
$18,000 a year. To
So
feed a
everyone's-
hippo.
everyone's trying to like grab at Adam, and he like gets like tossed out of the hallway until his rescuer. No. This I almost forgot. So this part's great. He runs into a supply closet, and he just like it's dark in there, and then he just hears a, "Don't be afraid, Adam. You know what I want."
Adam.
You know what I want.
And it's Coach Gills, who we haven't seen in like forever. I feel.
I love
Yeah,
Coach.
it's been too long.
I love Coach Gills here because it's a surprise visit. Normally
Yeah.
when we get Coach Gills, we like see her first at least. But like here,
We see her in her natural state, or it's just a one-off gag. But here we get lore. This is
Yeah.
a lore, deep interpersonal moment, and it's also really funny. She's describing this to Adam, where she's basically describing her life story. She's telling, "Can you imagine me when I was young, Adam? Imagine me
I
as a
don't-
little fish
1997.
with."
19
Yeah, 1997 specifically. I was young then.
I was a itsy bitsy cutesy girl fish,
And then he's just like, I'd rather not.
and I developed early, so you can imagine. What the fuck
This
does
shit
that
pisses me off. Because
Why-
what does she mean? Because first of all, goldfish don't even live that long, right?
I don't think so.
How was she alive in 1997? And secondly, what does she mean by develop? Because goldfish don't really develop in the way that she would be describing, right? Am I wrong? Renee, you have the
what
facts.
what is the way she's describing even?
Is she
Because
talking? Is she talking about
her eyeballs?
her eyeballs? Is she talking
Because
about?
goldfish have some weird eyeballs.
Not to point it
sometimes.
out, is she talking about? Well, the writers did they intend? Did they intend? Is she referencing mammary glands?
I pray to
God,
God.
I
not.
hope not.
So this is what I mean by the fish chest being a recurring theme in this episode, and I did not expect to be saying that.
Wait, what do you mean fish chest?
The fish
Where else?
earlier, he had his
Oh.
chest
Renee,
out.
Renee, come back with me for a second.
Oh,
Look into
yeah.
the camera and have a "That's So Raven" moment. Here we go.
Yeah, so
He's got these like big, swollen blue eyes that seem to go in any which way, any which direction, and a shirt that's unbuttoned from the top button, so he's showing a bit of his fish chest, which is going to become a recurring theme later on in the episode. And now we see David Coppertrout, and we see one button unbuttoned on his shirt, and this delicate chest being shown, which means that
Delicate.
we have to acknowledge that fishes do have a chest, and they want to show it off, which tells me that what Coach Gill's talking about is fish titties.
she says she doesn't
like
have
any-
any. She says she doesn't have any friends, and Horace gets upset and leaves. And
Our
then she goes, "Oh,
relationship.
Horace, you know we have a professional relationship."
Horace, don't be offended. I'm sorry.
And so Adam leaves the closet again, and
he panically like tries to really like. Coach goes like, well, will you help me? It's like I gotta leave.
I gotta get away from you.
And
I need air.
And so he goes out, and all the animals are grabbing at him, and then Principal Pixie Frog like opens his opens his office door, and he's like,
"To the rescue!"
Yes, to the rescue comes this Mr. I almost called him Mr. Frog. That feels weird. Mr.
Frog. Frog.
Principal.
I kind of like that.
Principal.
Mr. Frog.
Principal Pixie Frog tells all the animals to sit. They do, and he stop it.
Stop.
We've already listen. I listened to last episode, which I wasn't a part of, where y'all talked about how like that shot of Principal Pixie Frog like lounging on a couch and like
I tried to gloss over it. I swear. These people.
Allie like deliberately pointed out that like that was a very tender image for those who might like Principal Pixie Frog.
I gotta say, Allie was really like into pointing these things out about Principal Pixie Frog.
And
look, I know he has his fans in that way, or maybe not in that way, but you know we can't bring that sort of attention to him. He's just he's just doing his job as a principal.
I want to get a commission from somebody. Principal.
Don't you dare! I don't want to hear any sort of commission about him.
I want to get a commission. Principal Pixie Frog shoveling Wonder Bread into a big shopping cart.
He brings Adam Lyne to his office.
And he's like, "Did you hear Gert's gonna commission a picture of me?"
For anyone who understands what I'm referencing,
No, I'm putting my foot down. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the episode. You shut your mouth.
Stop yelling at me.
I like how whenever Renee gets really like upset at you, Gert, she starts sounding like an angry elementary school teacher.
It's very good.
God, you're just like Miss Radajeski.
Radajeski.
So Pixie Frog is like, I can, let you skip all your stocking classes if you wish, and then Adam's like, you are my last hope, Principal Pixie Frog, and so he gets chased through the hallway again. He's like,
I mean, honestly, I don't see why he couldn't have taken him up on that offer. Just, I know he has deep-seated trauma over making wishes, but at the very least, he could have just been like, sure, Principal Pixie Frog, take that. I'm out of here. I'm about to head out.
Principal
P.
Principal Pixie Frog opened the door and his arm got really long. We glazed over that. It's okay that we did, but I just wanted to mention that his arms can get real long to open doors.
I think Principal Pixie Frog has a selection of certain kinds of powers.
Yeah.
Here's what I mean, because in this episode, he commands the students in a way that's, like, it's superhuman. He has superhuman powers in a way, like, he's commanding the students.
Super frog powers.
Earlier on. And they follow his commands exactly. And he's done it before because he's like, oh, I love that part. It scared me. I'm scared of Principal Pixie Frog and his powers, and that wasn't an emotion I was expecting to feel. Because I feel a certain kinship with Principal Pixie Frog in a way, because I feel like I had to wrangle this podcast together. I had to get onto this podcast and bring order from the chaos. And that's what he does. He's a strong man, is all I'm saying.
He is a strong man. You know what? We respect Principal Pixie Frog here, but he was no help.
Yeah,
we talked about him for far longer than what he was useful for in this episode, which was a joke.
So Adam leaves. He's like, you know what? Who wants my wish? Come and get me. And he starts getting chased through the hallway. Jake shows up on like a floor waxer, or what do you call those? Is that what you call it?
Yeah. A floor waxer,
like a buffer.
Yeah.
Buffer.
He's like riding on it, and he's like grab my hand.
Come with me if you want to live. He says that just word for word.
And so he takes him, and then Adam's like, you know what, Jake, I'm still not giving you that wish. And so Jake's like, fine, like sudden brakes on the waxer, and Adam goes flying and lands into the pool with the fish again. He's like, I've never believed in wishes. Adam. Like, I don't want to give this wish. And everyone's like frustrated. They're like, why? Why don't you believe in wishes? And he's like, because one time when I was a kid, I saw a shooting star and I wished for a Captain Clowny action figure, and I didn't get it.
I remember when I heard that as a kid, I think even then I thought, pathetic. What a pathetic little story. I'm becoming more and more aware that when I was a child, I still thought Adam Line was an unlikable little prick. I guess. Okay.
So everyone is just unfazed by this sob story, and so Adam just like frustrated, like yells, "Oh, I wish I was before any of this ever happened." And
so
then
it shall be. So it shall be done.
So it shall be.
And the fish warps him back to dinosaur times, and that's where the episode ends.
And the episode cuts off.
Yeah, hey, this episode didn't happen, right? It was a dream?
It has to have been, right?
There's a fucked up ending sequence here, too. Like, the credit sequence, it's just like Jake's trying to get the fish to, like, pop out of the water again so he can save him and get a wish, and he does it, like, over and over again, and then he's like, why can't I get you? And then it, like, shows that the fish has, like, chained himself down to, like, a rock in the pond. And he's like,
chained up.
I'm a little tied up at the moment.
But why?
Don't know.
Why are you chained up? Why would you need to chain yourself up? They don't explain it, and it...
No, he's too powerful, Nyle. David Coppertrout. By the way, David Coppertrout... Coppertrout... You had it right there. Copperfish. That's a better pun than Coppertrout.
Coppertrout.
What is Coppertrout?
They could have really played with the name a bit more. They didn't.
Maybe there's a fish called a coppertrout?
No. Well, hold on. Let me look at that before I'm wrong and I'm ejected as the Animal Facts Corner person.
Oh, and also, Renee, I don't mean to correct you, but his name is Little Puddin' Tater.
He never agreed to that.
No, you're right. You got me there.
There isn't such a thing as a Coppertrout, but there is a restaurant named that.
How fun. Magic Fish is a weird episode, but it was the one that got consistent laughs out of me. I thought it was really, really funny. I enjoyed it.
It was very good.
I think Magic Fish, it served its purpose. It was a cartoon, and it was enjoyable, to say the least. Like, it did what it needed to do, I believe.
Such high ratings.
No, I'm praising it a bit more than everyone else here, I think, but I'm standing by it. I just thought this episode was really funny. I really enjoyed Magic Fish.
I thought so too. I think the other episode was subpar. It had minimal laughs. It was just okay, just something you watch and then immediately forget about, like I did. But Magic Fish, it's a pretty good one. Lots of laughs, a cartoonish, Looney Tunes type ending. It's
lots of fan favorite characters who come in.
Yeah, I really liked
nice.
The character development of Windsor here. We get to learn that he's really interested in space, and that's adorable. I like that.
And
I'm
Slips
glad
has a cousin in Ecuador.
And Slips has a cousin in Ecuador. We got a Slip moment.
There's a lot of lore in this episode, isn't there?
The Coach Gill stuff.
Yeah.
Everyone just had to give up their past to get a chance at getting that wish.
Alright, let's read some comments since we're done with that.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty.
I'll start here. Alright, this is from Splatgat. And they say, I went to pick up my mom from work, and I had this playing in the car, and I forgot to switch to radio, so we ended up listening to it together. She said she liked it. It was fun listening to it with her, so thank y'all for making this podcast.
I read this comment, yesterday, and it made me so happy. That's such a sweet thing. I'm glad that your mom liked listening to us.
Now tell her to listen to this one so she can know me instead of Allie. I'm the star of the show.
I hope our cussing didn't get you in trouble.
Oh yeah. I don't know how chill your mom is, but
yeah,
like if the first few times I was like would listen to like my brother and me in the car with my mom, like very rarely she would like the only thing she would say sometimes is, do they have to say the F word? Like, really sadly. And I'd be like, it's funny. And then now she doesn't even like, it doesn't even faze her.
That's funny.
I feel like our podcast would be a bit rougher then with that barometer.
Yeah. If...
We're a little bit edgier.
Yeah, a little bit edgier. A little bit, like, bumping elbows, right?
The hell do you mean?
Like, bump!
Anyway, tell your mom hi. Play her this bit right here. Hi, mom.
Hi, mom. Hi,
Hello.
Hi, mom.
I hope we provide an entertaining broadcast for you and your spawn.
Spawn. Anyway,
hold on. Let's take it one more time. Let's do another.
All right.
Okay.
I'm gonna.
All right, Lucy, you start.
Okay, mom.
What? That's the energy we're going into this?
Mama?
I hope.
Mommy?
Don't play this for your
Oh
mom.
my god! No, but ignore all of this. None of this is being sent to your mom.
Mom? If you're listening to this, Mom, I just want to let you know that... Oh no, they're coming! Ah!
Who wants to read the next one?
I do.
All right.
You can best for last. No. I mean...
Yeah, all right.
All right, go on, Gert.
I mean, are you sure? Are you sure?
No, go ahead.
Okay. We could both read it at the same time.
No.
Just read the fucking comment.
Okay. All right. This is a comment from Liam Bradley. Thanks, Liam. Hey, so there's a MGPAM comic that exists. They're from the Cartoon Network Block Party comics. They could be read in the MGPAM wiki site. MGPAM. Are you gonna make an episode of them? It would be great if you did. So I didn't know about these. This sounds good.
Yeah, we definitely could do like a bonus episode about these comics. That sounds great.
Yeah,
I absolutely would love to. I've been reading a lot of comics lately, been keeping up with them, and I'm really in the mood to just narrate some comments. I'd love to do a live narration of some of these.
Oh, that'd be super fun.
Oh, like what if we did like a stream? We
Yeah,
read the comics.
Actually, you know what? No, I'm vetoing that.
Why?
You have no say in this.
Yeah, you're just our guest.
I'm writing up the contract right now. And,
Silence,
no,
guest.
Sorry, guys, you're not able to do the.
Why?
Comic.
Is it because we're getting into your territory? Is that it?
No. It's just I think it's bad for your brand. I'm your new
You
agent.
You don't think that Twitch is good for us?
Do you think we would
Are
do
you
well
gonna
on
recommend
Twitch?
Mixer or Hitbox.tv
or Picardio or all them other ones.
Facebook Live.
No, I am very intrigued about these comics.
Yeah, we'll try and do something.
I would
with
love
them.
to see that.
Yeah. Renee, will you read our last comment?
Oh, I'd love to. This one's from Agent Emerald. They write, "Man, Principal Pixie Frog's cashews was the one thing from this show that stuck with me years after the fact.
Oh my god,
Every
thank
now and
you.
again it echoes through my head. Also, Gert, how dare you not like white chocolate?
Okay, hold on.
How dare you? It's the best chocolate. Gert.
I have a lot of choice words to say with you after I listened to that episode and heard you say that shit about white chocolate. I'm ready to fight right now.
And white chocolate macadamia nut cookies. Yeah, we're doing this now.
You people are so immature. You can't.
You know what? Yeah, you know what? I'm walking to Gert's side and I'm holding up my metal shield. I don't like white chocolate either, and you're not gonna hurt either of us.
You can't eat that fucking good, real 99% cocoa good ass chocolate, like an adult.
Yeah, white chocolate's
You
nothing.
have to have baby chocolate that doesn't
Why
even
can't
have
I
any
have
chocolate
both?
in it.
Why
I'm
can't
sorry,
I have
Agent
both?
Emerald. I'm sorry, Lucy. I'm sorry, Renee. But white chocolate is garbage. It's
Well,
bad.
you know what? By my count, let's see. So we have Nyle and Gert on the side of white chocolate bad. That's 2. And on my count here, we got Lucy, Renee, and Agent Emerald all on the side of white chocolate good. So 3-2. I gotta say, I think we win that one.
Yeah, you know, they had the same
that's where you're
argument
wrong,
when they
though.
were, you know, like pursuing witches back in the 1700s. So are you saying it was right to do that? God, you're so stupid.
Thank you for the
And,
comment,
you know-
Agent Emerald. You're the only right one here.
You're wrong, but thank you for commenting. Well,
that
we
was a great time, everybody. Thank you, Niall, so
Yeah,
much for joining us.
Yeah, sorry,
Absolutely.
Niall.
Thank you guys so much for having
Sorry
me.
we don't have anything for you to read, Niall, at the end.
Well, no, that's okay. You know, what's really satisfying for me is I just thought this was just about the worst podcast I've ever seen in my life. And so I came on here trying to make it something, you know, at least try to salvage it and exert my influence. But what I learned is that, you know, maybe you guys got this figured out.
Oh,
Aww.
So
that's actually really sweet. Like,
just let me know if you ever need a hand.
hey, Niall.
We will.
And then this is
Niall.
where the outro music that I wrote is going to start playing. Go ahead and pop that up.
No, you don't have any of that.
Oh, love it.
Anyway, the next episode's
So we'll catch you
no,
next
no,
time.
no.
And
On my gym partners a podcast.
emphasis on my when you say it, Niall, because it's yours.
The next episodes we're going to be watching season 2 episodes 7 A and B. Ain't Too Proud to Egg
and the two Jakes.
Finally, the Clone Saga arrives.
Oh my god!
I'm going to make so many Spider-Man Clone Saga jokes, you won't be able to handle it.
Anyway,
Maybe
thank
I
you
was
for
wrong.
joining us, everybody. I'm Lucy.
I am Gert.
I'm Renee.
I mean, I'm Nile, I guess. What was that? What was the cadence of any of that?
And this has been My Gym Partners, a podcast. Woo,
This has
yay,
been-
Goodbye, 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 goodbye.